Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. New fire starts a concern as thunderstorms rumble through the area, bringing lightning and gusty winds along with them.
Our Storm Tracker weather team is closely monitoring a red flag warning that is currently in effect for our area with hot and breezy conditions in the forecast. Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost has more on what is happening out there. Aaron.
And oh boy, not just for our area, almost the entire Treasure State underneath this red flag warning. It is in effect currently until 9 o'clock tomorrow. Today is for the potential of lots of lightning, these dry thunderstorms and gusty and erratic winds. Tomorrow, post-frontal winds will keep things very breezy along with those dry conditions. So not a good fire danger day here over the next couple across western Montana. You can see earlier Hamilton, First Security Bank ICAM showing you all that haze. Hopefully this cold front that's moving in right now might help us out for that Thursday, Friday time frame, but it might not. I've got an update coming up.
In tonight's Fire Watch coverage here on KPAX, new evacuation warnings for 90 homes and more than 1,000 homes and buildings remain evacuated in the Seeley Lake area as the Rice Ridge fire grows to more than 32,000 acres. The Sprague fire burning in Glacier National Park tops more than 2,000 acres and smoke forces a popular lodge to close early. And insurance agencies are suspending home sales near fire areas as those fires have torched more than 100,000 acres in western Montana. Just about an hour ago, the Missoula County Sheriff's Office placed 90 more homes under an evacuation warning due to rapidly changing fire activity at the Rice Ridge fire near Seeley Lake. This current warning area includes both sides of Highway 83 north from Tamarack Resort to Beargrass, extending to Beargrass Lane, Loon Lane, and Camp Creek. Also under an evacuation warning are residents on both sides, north and south sides of Boy Scout Road to the Fawn Creek intersection. Authorities report 1,000 homes and buildings are covered by a mandatory evacuation order. A fire information center has been set up between Corey's Valley Market and the Wilderness Gateway Inn in Seeley Lake. That fire has grown to 32,000 acres. It is 18% contained. There is a fire information meeting about the Rice Ridge fire scheduled for 6 o'clock tomorrow at the community center located at 3248 Highway 83 North.
Moving now to the Bitterroot, where Valley County Sheriff Steve Holton says 65 homes remain under mandatory evacuation orders due to the 150-acre Nelson Creek fire. It's burning between Darby and Sula up the West Fork. Here's a map of the area. Those specifics are also on our website. The sheriff says due to windy conditions and potential for dangerous fire behavior, there will be no access to the Nez Perce Road and that Nez Perce Fork. Fire officers will reevaluate the access tomorrow morning. Near the Lolo Peak fire, home buyers and sellers are being held up as insurance companies recently began refusing to write policies in areas that they consider to be a high risk.
MTN's Augusta McDonald has more on how this is putting people in a bind and where the parameters fall to protect people trying to buy and sell property.
The blaze burning in the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys is affecting people who live there and the people who want to.
The Lolo Peak fire started, and as structures burned, the insurance companies decide to not write insurance binders, which means we cannot close real estate transactions.
Currently, about 181 active listings are being affected by the Lolo Peak fire. Although insurance companies could refuse to give policies on a case-by-case basis, typically the homes that are affected fall within about a 5-mile radius of the fire. Now that includes all of Lolo, west of Highway 93, Highway 12, and some parts of Florence.
With 67 additional homes under contract or pending sale, about 250 transactions could potentially be held up. Besides keeping buyers out of their new homes, it can also be costly.
It could affect the buyers in the manner that if they have locked into an interest rate and that lock is ready to expire, they could have to spend more money to relock or lose their current interest rate altogether. And it will also affect the sellers with the fact that they cannot potentially relocate or receive their equity or cash from their home so that they can move on and purchase in their new location.
While insurance companies can refuse to write or renew insurance if homes are actually at an increased risk due to natural disaster like the Lolo Peak fire, they cannot refuse to insure property based on a blanket geographic area like a zip code or county.
This moratorium won't end until the fire no longer presents a threat, which is looking like it could take weeks. Reporting in Lolo, I'm McDonald for MTN News. While
real estate professionals always expect insurance holdups during an active fire season, they say this summer's fires are impacting more homes than usual. If you have questions, you can reach out to the insurance commissioner at 406-444-3152.
Smoke from the 2,000-acre Sprague fire burning on the east side of Lake McDonald prompts one of Glacier National Park's iconic lodges to have to close its doors early this season. As MTN's Nicole Miller found out, Lake McDonald Lodge closing about a month early. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Everyone's pretty heartbroken about the fact that we had to close due to the air quality. You know, many people save up for a long time to bring their families to Glacier and kind of have that epic holiday experience.
Unfortunately, their plans have been altered. Wildfire smoke from nearby fires has closed Lake McDonald Lodge for the season.
The park is actually getting smoke from a couple different sources. Here at Lake McDonald Lodge, the closure that Xanterra decided to put in place is really because of the localized smoke coming from up the hill just a couple miles away at the Sprague fire.
An air quality monitoring station was just installed at the lodge. Initial readings indicate that air quality levels are fluctuating between good and hazardous.
We've been monitoring the air quality every hour. Unfortunately, now that we've had the opportunity to review the data, it's showing that about 12 hours out of every 24-hour period, the air quality is at very unhealthy or above.
The hazardous air quality is a big concern for the safety of employees who live on site and have a longer duration of exposure to the air conditions.
There's a tendency in the evening when the temperatures cool down, that smoke sinks down into the valley, and then it tends to sit here on the lodge at night and into the next morning.
Employee Samuel Hicks, who manages food and beverage, says it's been most difficult on the foreign employees, but remaining safe and healthy is most important.
A lot of confusion with our J1 and exchange students. You know, they're not too sure what they're going to do, but sad, happy. Everybody's going to miss each other. Nobody wants to really leave all their friends they've made here all summer because this place is home. And I know a majority of our employees really want to come back next year already.
Reporting in Glacier National Park, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
The lodge was completely booked through September. Lodge officials say some of the employees will be able to transfer to jobs in other parts of East Glacier and to Yellowstone National Park. Crews continue a battle at lightning spark fire that broke out in Sanders County yesterday. The Sheep Gap fire was first started around 5 o'clock. It's burning west of Plains, 9 miles outside of town, just south of Highway 200. There's no immediate word on how many acres have burned with this one. We'll continue tracking it and have more information as it becomes available. Those 4 teens accused of starting the fire that destroyed over a dozen homes near Hamilton and the big Roaring Lion fire will not face any jail time. Cody Canez, Stephen Banks, and Tyler Johnson were each charged with felony and misdemeanor negligent arson charges. There were charges against a 4th person, but those were dropped. Prosecutors say the group left a campfire unattended that led to the devastating 8,500-acre Roaring Lion fire that destroyed 16 homes last summer outside Hamilton. It cost over $9 million to fight. The 3 accepted a plea deal with prosecutors agreeing to a 5-year deferred sentence. The 3 will have to serve 100 hours of volunteer work with the National Forest, with the Forest Service. They will also be required to pay 10% of their annual salaries to restitution for the duration of their sentence. If they follow all conditions, the charges may eventually be dropped. The Stevensville Police Department says officials are on the scene of a home on East 3rd Street and College Street where some old dynamite's been discovered. Stevensville Police and Fire Department say they are taking extra precautions. They're closing neighborhood streets and evacuating nearby homes. Explosives professionals are expected to be on the scene shortly. We have a reporter there and we'll keep you updated on this developing story. In front of a crowd of staff and faculty, University of Montana's president urging attendees to act as ambassadors to promote the university. And as MTN's Don Fisher reports, there are some positive signs for student enrollment for the first time in years.
University of Montana interim president Sheila Stearns addressed faculty and staff Wednesday morning just before the start of the new fall semester and addressed many topics, which included award-winning efforts by the staff and the ever-looming question of enrollment. But Stearns says despite a projected drop, another budget shortfall is not expected.
The fact that we had a big class graduate means that enrollment overall will be down by a few percent. That was also predicted as soon as you looked at numbers last January. So that is exactly what we have done so that we could budget conservatively and work aggressively to grow those numbers through retention and recruitment.
But there is one very positive sign for UM's future. President Stearns says this is the largest incoming freshman class the university has seen in years and credits that to an increased emphasis on recruitment.
It's not a big spike increase, but it looks like we will be about even. And I said clear last January when I first started that that was a huge goal.
As for the search for a new full-time president, Stearns says the selection process is going very well, as they hope to come to a decision later this year.
I think that we will have finalists to interview later this month, which will be exciting. So that is a rough timetable, and I think it's very reasonable and achievable.
In Missoula, Don Fisher, MTN News.
And because of the smoke, the University of Montana moved its academic convocation from outside to the Denison Theater, and that starts at 8 o'clock.
Coming up, Aaron previews your Labor Day weekend forecast, has the latest on the red flag warning and all those thunderstorms kind of setting up out there.
And we continue to take a look at sweeping changes to the state's correctional system. Former inmates are weighing in. Coming up here on KPAX.